Hello. How are you doing after yesterday's circus? You are doing okay. So, today's topic is VS Code OpenEdge formatter in VS Code. So, so a few details about me. So I'm Paulius Kuprevičius. I'm a software developer at Baltic Amadeus, and I'm working with Progress OpenEdge for more than 6 years now. And I am interested in creating and maintaining various tools for developers to improve the quality of life for us for everyday use. So, as I said, I'm from Baltic Amadeus, and we are a software development company. We are in business for more than 30 years with more than 250 employees and working in various industries with various partners and clients in banking, insurance, energy, defense, and so on. So, and one big part of our business is OpenEdge, and we have a dedicated team and dedicated unit to that with more than 40 experts. We have developers, testers, engineers, DevOps engineers, project managers, and basically everything you need to succeed in your business with OpenEdge technology. So, agenda for today is very simple. First, I will introduce you to VS Code. I think most of you know what it is, so I will just go through slides very quickly. Then we talk about VS Code extensions and what is the benefits, what are the benefits of those. And then I will shortly introduce you to the 2 extensions we already created last year and year before last year. So ProBro and ProPeak. Maybe you know them, maybe you use them. So I will show you those a little bit. And finally, the main meal is OpenEdge formatting in VS Code. So I will show you what we managed to accomplish this year, and you will see the demo, and you will see me writing code live, so that will be fun. Okay, so again, this is the question I ask every year. Okay, we can ask just how many of you uses VS Code daily for anything, not just OpenEdge? Okay, so that's like half of the people here. That's good. And that's I think improving year by year, because every year I ask and every year I see more hands raised, so this is good. And this is data from Stack Overflow survey. I think Gilles also showed this, so this is just to show that VS Code is very high compared to anything else basically, and Eclipse is just dying slowly, so that's that. And and talking about the specifically OpenEdge community, this is from 2023 annual OpenEdge product roadmap survey. This is just what we use in our community, and VS Code is here, not as high as it could be, but it is still growing a bit by 1%. Of course, this is might be margin of error, but I hope this actually shows some kind of a trend, and we'll see this increase year by year in the future. So, and this is just one sentence from the OpenEdge roadmap presented, I think, on Thursday, on Wednesday, and in between the roadmap ideas, we have this ABL coding in VS Code sentence, which means for now nothing, because we don't have anything from OpenEdge, from Progress themselves, but maybe in the future we'll have something created by them. But for now, everything is created basically by community, by us. So what is VS Code? It is a source code editor. It is a sort of glorified text editor, which can turn into IDE, fully fledged IDE, if you have right tools, right extensions. And it is multi-platform. It's based on Electron framework, so it works very well on Mac, on Linux, on Windows. And it's the best feature of all is that it was created to be easily extendable, and that's what we are doing today. The architecture, just how it works. The interesting thing is that it's basically a web app, so that's the reason why we can have things like Gitpod and Codium and so on and so on. Now we have, I think, many of them, and you can actually develop your code on web. You have your servers actually with all the setup somewhere else on the cloud, and everything can be easily managed. And yeah, so this is one of the biggest benefits, I would say. But today, I'm not talking about that. I think we have a presentation by Jan from Baltic Amadeus after the lunch. So please join him. He will talk about how to work with Gitpod, I think, and OpenEdge. And yes, so VS Code extensions is basically bread and butter of VS Code. It probably would be hard to find anyone who uses VS Code without any extensions. And it's easy to install them, easy to find, and there are thousands and thousands of them for various things. You can basically type anything and you will find something what's doing. Like if I once searched, like, there is an extension which every day shows a joke, you know. You open your laptop, you open your VS Code, and it gives you a joke. So, like, anything can be created here. But for OpenEdge community, there are not so many options to choose. There are a few extensions, I would say now, depreciated or historical extensions. There is, of course, the main one by Gilles, now maintained by Gilles, who is working on the language extension for the language support. And there are a few of our extensions, and of course there is extension by Ken Herring, who created last year, I think, this ABL unit testing extension to help you write unit tests and visualize them and have better access. So, and I think now we also have this extension bundle which has all of those extensions in one place, so this is also nice. Yeah, so this was, I mentioned this one. I think we can go, yeah. Yeah, so now I will try to briefly introduce, because I think some of you saw it maybe last year or year before, or tried it yourself. So we 2 years ago we created this ProBra extension, which is aimed to provide a browsing function for the database in VS Code. So something similar to Data Digger, but on VS Code. And during those 2 years, of course, initial version was really crappy, I would say. And but we improved a lot. There are still a lot of issues because this is a quite complicated tool to have. It has a lot of front-end stuff, and also it basically has to connect to any database with any setup and show any data on that. So it's sometimes there are still some issues. So please feel free, if you have issues, ask me directly here today, or write me an email if you have any kind of issues with setuping it, because I know people have issues, but they don't tend to ask me. So, but I am available. And yeah, so during the last year, this year, we created a few new things, some minor improvements, I would say, which jumped from code. So this is an interesting feature where basically, because we have a database structure, we know database structure, and we have this extension which launches the field views and launches the data view itself. We can actually map the code. If you have in code, you have, let's say, customer buffer. it will actually, on hover, it will show you, you can launch, run query for hover, and it will open the data, open the ProBro, and you can see, you will be able to see the data. So this is just one click away. The data is one click away from your code in this way. Yeah, and we also improved the user experience, fixed some bugs, and made also read-only database connections available, because it was not year before. And demo, okay, I wasn't prepared for demo, but I thought I removed the slide, but okay, we can do a demo here. So, yeah, okay, so I think what I will show is this thing what I mentioned before. Okay, that's interesting. This is the same issue other people had, I think. Okay, so if we go to the code, so this is the ProBro extension. Very simple to understand, I think, what's happening here. Basically, we have a database connection. We have favorite tables, and we have other tables. This is sports.db. Yeah. And what I wanted to show, I will not go in depth because we don't have time for that, but I will just show the this nice thing, which is, it's not something very huge, but it was nice to have when, for example, you have, let's say, vacation repository, for example, and you have this vacation stuff. And for example, if you hover on top, it's not a database buffer, it's just a token in the editor, which is called vacation, but because we have in the database something called vacation, it actually suggests you to run query for vacation, and you can see the data here. So this is just, one simplification how you can just jump from your code to the data, and of course it's not necessary to have, but it's just a nice feature. So okay, I think I will not show anything anymore, but we can go now to the profiling. Yeah, so profiling in OpenEdge, this is another extension we created, which is called PUG. And basically, we read profiler output code file, and we analyze it and show it, visualize it. So it's similar what PDSOE has, but we try to make it better, and we try to make it in VS Code. So this is what PDSOE looks. You saw it. It's nice, and it shows things. It sometimes crashes, but okay. And this is what we created. It looks, the main window actually looks very similar. It's just the module details, and the structure is the same. But we also added this few new features, which is flame graph here in the middle of the list. And we also recently added this compare, which is still not finished, but I will show you briefly how it looks and what we want to achieve. So this is how the flame graph looks. Yeah. So I think I will show you again briefly in 1 minute how it looks. So you would believe me, you will believe me. It's not just the screenshots, it's actual working. Okay, let's have some profiling files. Let's have this one. Yes, so I open a new project, not new project, existing project, but I will open the show profiler. So just to click, you need to click on profiler out file or profiler prof.prof file, and it will open this view. This is very simple example here. We have a tree view, which was again in PDSOE, but also we have this flame graph. Okay, this one is not nice. This is just very simple. Okay, no. But what I wanted to show you here, which is another feature we added, this is not, again, maybe in some circumstances it wouldn't be very useful, but it is nice that we also can, if you are using the VS Code setup for the language extension, with all the .builder, you have .builder directory, you have .pct. We can actually map your profiler output stuff on this screen to the actual code. And you can see these files have underscores. So that means if we have here, for example, get1 under test2, whatever, this is just test code. We can actually click on number 3 line in this code, and it will actually open the code itself. And it, of course, works with includes because we are reading extra files and mapping those. So this, again, just a nice feature to have the possibility to jump to code without, reading what's here, copying it, or searching the file. So this is just some sugar for for us to have less things to do. And yeah, and what I wanted to show also was with the comparisons. So for example, if I open a big example, so this is from the actual project, which was anonymized. So everything here is called module. So here we have a lot of modules, mostly methods here. And we can go to flame graph, which shows the full structure of it. And we can also have compare. So if we click compare, it will open standard operating system browser for files. And you can click on another file, and it will compare those. And you have comparison screen. And you can see what was added. Nothing, what was removed, so and see some comparison data. So this is not yet published, this part comparison, because we have some things to improve and some issues. For example, especially with this example, there are a lot of overloaded methods, and in profiler file there is no way to distinguish overloaded methods because we just have the name and the class name, for example, and the package, all the package structure. So it's impossible to distinguish them. And if you have like a class with 10 overloaded methods, it's hard to compare them because you don't know which is which on those two different files. So there are some issues, and we'll try to solve them. Okay, I think you can see it. Okay, I will try to go now to wrap up this introduction to those two existing extensions and continue with the actual formatting stuff, because we here are for formatting. So OpenEdge ABL formatting in VS Code. So some history. So this is just to show, the tools people had. I hope nobody of you worked with that, but maybe? Richard? Okay, so no. Yeah, so this is just 50, 70 years ago, what was the the tooling, what we had, and basically you had this punch card. You write your code on paper, then you go to typewriter, which punches the holes in this punch card, and then you bring this to your mainframe and wait 2 hours to solve like some simple thing. So this is just what was 50 years ago, and maybe a bit closer to today. We got things like code compilation at will. When we had our own personal computers, we can compile stuff on them, we can debug them. And probably in the last 20 years, we also now have containerization, so we don't need to think about the infrastructure side of the. We just can care about our own software on the higher level. We got linting, which can show you code smells and issues with your code style or something like that. We got Git, which allows to basically work on the same project for multiple developers, even on the same files. It makes it easier. And also the services which are built on top of that. GitHub, GitLab, which also basically nowadays encompasses whole development process and helps you with that. And finally, we have automation, which is basically a tool to also combine all of those. You can basically have your compilation, your testing, your sonar analysis done just somewhere on the server automatically with every commit, every push. So this is what we have nowadays. And on this list, we also have code formatting. On most programming languages, major programming languages, there are code formatters to help us. And why code formatting is needed? Mostly, it is important for code reviews, because if you want to maintain the consistency in your project structure, you of course want to have code reviews where there are coding style and practices enforced. And code formatters basically can remove this step in your review process, because it should make the formatting the same during the development, and you don't need to review it during the code review. So these are just a few benefits of having code formatting tooling. And we also have linters, I mentioned before. So linters are mainly focusing on code smells, on potential bugs, and of course in OpenEdge we have a lot of depreciated features which we shouldn't use, so also on those, and some stylistic errors and stylistic issues might be pointed out by linters. When we add formatters, formatter is also interested in your coding style, but the difference is that it actually does the automated correction. So usually linter is just pointing that there is something wrong. Maybe fancier ones nowadays will show you what could be the fix, but ultimately it's just pointing to the place in your code what is maybe written incorrectly or has some issues. And formatter idea is to actually fix those issues. But why we can do that, there is some logic behind that. This is just a table. One side is show issues and fix issues. And we have, on top we have logic and non-logic. And the thing is that linter is more interested in your actual code, in your logic, what's happening in your conditions and how code is basically set up. But it can only show issues, because if it would try to actually change or fix the code, it might break it, and probably we don't have, at least at the moment, so smart linters which could actually, with very high precision, fix stuff. So, and formatter is a bit different. Formatter is actually fixing issues, but it's not really interested in your logic. It's actually mainly interested in what is in between your code, in the empty space, new lines, and so on. So this is why we can actually have this formatting, and we shouldn't technically have any risk on changing the logic. So, and what is the industry standard? Probably. There are, of course, many formatters for many different languages, and some of them probably are aimed to specific IDs. So, but what I'm most familiar with is Prettier, which is a formatter mostly for JavaScript, TypeScript family, some other languages related to those. So this is taken from their website. Basically, they call themselves opinionated formatter, because they try to not have any settings, basically to have one standard to how the JavaScript, TypeScript should be formatted, and to reduce, how it says here, to reduce the ongoing debates over styles, which I think in OpenEdge ABL community we have a lot of debate how to write, even starting with uppercase, lowercase discussion. But yeah, this is what people in JavaScript, TypeScript world tries to accomplish the singular formatting style. And our approach, so yeah, this is the logo we created for a formatter. Our approach is to, for now, for starters, to be highly configurable, because of to make it easier to adopt it. Because I understand it would be hard to adopt this formatter if if it formats 90% of your code. If you click format and it will change it completely. So this might be a big blocker. So we tried to make it configurable, have settings, have possibility to disable some features, enable some features, have different configurations for some of them. So this is our current goal. Of course, ideally, in the far future, we probably could also have something like in a few other languages where the formatting standard is actually the same across the industry, not just the same across a project or same across your personal computer. so that would be the end goal. And this is just a depiction how many different ways of formatting stuff we have. So we can maybe play a game if you want. We can do someone use the first way of formatting assigned statements without alignment. Okay, nobody. That's good. We can remove this setting. That means number 2. So this is dot on the same line and assign on the same line as assignment statement. Okay, that's some people. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is more popular. Okay. Number 4. It's also popular. And number 5. Oh, okay. So, that's the, yeah?
Actually, number 4, but without alignment.
Yeah, so number 4 without alignment. Okay, so we can do that. Actually, in our formatter, we have this configuration to. So this is not full possibilities, but this is just to showcase. Yeah, and we saw that there are a lot of differences, even in this simple thing like assignment, and not to start with something like for statement. So yeah, and this is just if, again, similar situation. There are even a lot more of ways how to format that. Basically, yeah. Yeah, and this is what we came up with. We have some settings. So this is just, I will show you live how it works, but this is just from VS Code settings for our formatter. So basically, we came up with 3 settings for if statements, and similarly, it's the same for case statements. So basically, we ask if then what is then location? Is then should be on the same line as if, or should be on the new line? Then we ask if there is a do block, should do be on the same line or the new line? And then if there is a statement, if there is no do block, but there is a single statement, should it be on the same line or the new line? So these 3 configurations, I think, should cover all the cases we might have in the formatting. So technically, I think there are, 8 combinations how we can arrange that. So I would guess there are probably 8. We would find 8 people who format those differently. Yeah. So just I think we are almost ready, almost finished with the theory part. I will jump to demo, but I will just want to say how we created this extension. So we are using this Web3 sitter, which is a framework for very efficient language parsing, basically creating abstract syntax tree. It's technically named concrete syntax tree, but yeah, it's basically a syntax tree which we can now use for for analyzing and formatting the code. And of course, this is just a framework. It's a framework which, of course, most programming languages have implementation for this framework. But there is also an implementation, basically a grammar for this framework for OpenEdge, which is written by Kamil Jakobus. And he helped us a lot. He basically supported us whole year. And we, I think, registered like 50 tickets to him. And he is maintaining this repository for basically grammar for OpenEdge on this three-seater framework. So that basically allowed us to, without any boundary, to just take basically NPM library and use it in VS Code without any kind of additional work. And technically, because three-seater is also can be compiled to VSAM, I think it's called VSAM file, it could actually run on the web, just on the web directly. It doesn't require progress, it doesn't require anything. You can technically create a web app, just a web page which formats OpenEdge code. It doesn't require any, it just needs to run the JavaScript, so any browser can do. But yeah, for VS Code, we basically used this framework. And this is just a few main ideas what we came up when we started this like almost 1 year ago, I think. So it should be easy to configure, should be easy to use, good performance, and of course, common project level configuration, which is very important for formatting, that everyone formats the same. Because if not everyone formats the same, then it doesn't actually help you anyway, in any way. So, okay. I think we have like 25 minutes for demo, so I think it should be enough. So, okay. So for the demo, I will show you a repository of this little sample project. I didn't try to test it very deeply, so there might be some issues, but that's actually the idea. The idea is to show you that this is not some kind of finished formatter which doesn't have any issues. So we'll see those, and I will try to comment, and we'll try to check what's happening. So this is white, of course. You probably saw it. Yeah, I switched to white theme only because I think it's easier to see for you. I usually don't use it, so it looks very strange. Okay, so this is just a project. It actually set up. We have this for the setup. We have OpenEdge project JSON file with the database connection. So everything is very simple. But for the formatter, actually, we don't need anything of this. We just need formatter installed. Ah, yeah, that's a good idea. Is it better? Or do you want more? One more. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is the formatter, and technically it doesn't require any, it doesn't have any dependency or external dependency. It doesn't require OpenEdge, progress, anything. It's just is JavaScript text formatter. JavaScript means written in JavaScript, in TypeScript, to be more precise. But so yeah, so basically the VS Code provides a few standard commands for formatting code. So if you go to any kind of file, it will, and if you click, if you open command prompt, and you will find these format document and format selection commands. And there are actually, of course, shortcuts to those. So this is very standard. And if you go to any other language, for example, if you go to Java, if you try to format it, if it doesn't have formatter, it will ask you, do you want to install formatter for Java? And it will show you on the marketplace maybe what are the possibilities here. So So this is what we, but of course for OpenEdge we already have one. So if I click formats document, it formats it. Of course, this is nothing to format here actually, except for using statement. We have now implemented the sorting of using statements, which is actually sort of not actually formatting feature, but it's just very nice to have, to sort using statements by alphabetical order. Yes? Ah, okay. Good question. If it doesn't turn to the uppercase, we can turn to the lowercase. We have lowercase? Yes. Now everything is in one case. Okay, but if I press Control save, it changes using. Yeah, so I think for now I have it set it up settings. I will disable format on save. On save. No, that should be done by not by us. We have maybe some bugs with that, but it shouldn't actually touch the casing. I will actually now what I'm doing, I'm turning off the format on save, because ideally that's what you would like to have, but for demonstration it will be easier to not have it enabled. So yeah, so this is just very simple file. Maybe let's go to a different one. This is a bit more complex. It's not yet very complex, it's just some very small methods. But if we press again, command palette and open format document, it will change nothing. Yeah, it was formatted. So let's break it somehow. So let's make it flat. Yeah, it's completely flat now. Yeah, as you can see, flat as the Netherlands. Format documents. Yes, so as you can see, everything looks correct, more or less. Maybe someone will find some issue. For now, we don't have formatting for define statements. Like we don't have the alignment of assign and alignment of anything else here. We just mainly focus on if statements, on case, on for, and on indentation, block indentation in general. Yes, so I think what I want to show you now is this configuration. So for example, here we have this if, else. So if I go to the settings again, if I go to our settings, so just to extensions and ABL formatter, and here we can find, we don't have so many settings, but we have some of them. So for example, we would like to have then location on the same line, but let's have due location on the new line and statement location on the same line for some reason. Let's have those, and when we go back to the correct file, if we again format it, it actually changes it, and I hope it is okay. I see one issue here. Yeah. Okay, so there are issues, and that's what I wanted to show you. That's why it's not yet published on the marketplace, because there are some still issues with some statements, and with catch statement, I think we didn't solve it yet. But I think if you format again, it should fix it. So it's not fully operational yet. But and of course, if you have a huge file, you know the possibility of something going wrong if you try to format 10,000 lines of code, it's increasing. That something might become off. So, and yeah, that's the reality, and that's what we are trying to solve slowly, but it will take some time. What I wanted to show here, maybe the for formatting. So this code is not compiling because we don't have a database, correct database here. But again, if we try to make it somehow ugly, I don't know if it will work actually, but it will be fun. Let's make it ugly. Let's make something wrong here. And I don't know, make these ones flat. So let's see. I actually am betting that something will go wrong because I did, I think, too many changes here. But okay. Here didn't do anything here. I think it shouldn't actually do anything. Maybe Gustas knows he wrote this. On the if side here, do statement is off. Okay, yeah. If we correct, yeah. If we try again, it fixes it. Okay, so there are still this issue with double formatting that sometimes you need to double format to make it work. But we are solving those slowly. Yes, I think now we can jump to the settings. So I just show you a glimpse of how it works. Now we can go to the settings. It's very hard to. I will try to do like that. Okay. So in general, we have basically inside this ABL formatter, we have. It starts here. Inside this ABL formatter, we have, we call them also formatters. We have multiple implementations for different, OpenEdge statements. So, for example, if you want assigned formatting, you can disable or enable it. We basically have an implementation for that, and it can be turned off or turned on. Also, we have those three settings, how the assign should look. So, yeah, this is, I think, more or less self-explanatory. Then we have, of course, other features, defined formatting, which is not yet implemented. It has only one little feature. Find formatting, for formatting, case formatting, and case formatting has, again, three settings for how the structure should look. I would guess probably you would like to look at the same as if formatter, if statement looks. So technically, maybe you could merge those settings into one. And block formatting means the indentation of the statement of the blocks. So 2 spaces, 4 spaces, or something like that should be changed. Then if formatting with all those, again, 3 settings, temp table formatting, using formatting, which is mainly just sorting using statements. And body formatting, I think, is for empty blocks, or now for some, we have some special case for some situations because of the 3-sitter implementation. It's technically the same stuff as the block formatting, I think, from user perspective at least. And we have property formatting, and we have if function formatting for if functions with some settings, and we have debug mode finally here. So these are the settings. As you can see, there are a lot of them, and probably there will be more in the future. What else I can show you? I think I can show you what we can see. I think there was an error somewhere. Let's see if this. No, it doesn't have error. Strange. I will try to find some enum which doesn't work. No, it's not an enum. This is an enum. Okay. Huh. Okay. It doesn't have any issues, I think. Strange. But we also implemented way to actually see the 3-sitter errors, because we are using this 3-sitter parser, and it has still some language features are not implemented. I think enum has still some issues, and it will actually show it red that it was not understood correctly. It was understood as an error. So we would show that in the debug mode. And but strangely, it doesn't provide an error, so it's working fine. Okay, so yeah, I think I can wrap up the demonstration. Maybe, oh, okay, yeah, you have a question.
Yeah, you had a checkbox on formatting and kind formatting.
Yes.
Are you planning to add sub options or how you want to
What we try to do is actually because okay, I know we have a for statement somewhere. So like this one, okay. For some reason it's blue, but okay. So if I try to format it, it does something like this, and yeah, it's very nice. What would be your wishes?
Yeah, well, if you have the where, if you want the where on the same line as the reach, so you want it on a new line, you want to indent the where, or you want to leave it as the reach.
Yeah.
You have to be important inside.
Yeah.
So an alignment always in the where.
Yeah, I think for now we just try to implement something we came up with without settings. But yeah, we probably will try to do some settings. But I think it might be a lot of things, you know, because like some people will like to have you know, where statements on new line on the same line, will want to have expressions on every expression in the new line aligned by something. So it's like a million ways of formatting. So it will be limited probably. It's not very fully fledged here, because it's just hard to even describe it on. And if you describe on the settings, it will be like 10 settings just for formatting. So it will just be a nightmare to set up it. Maybe if you set up it and it works correctly, it's nice. But yeah, for now we didn't try to do that. Maybe someone has some other questions from the demo, because I can just wrap up the presentation, and then we can also have some questions, or I can show you something else if we have time. So I think I will try to wrap up the presentation side. So basically, as you saw, there are issues, and there is still a long way to perfection, and there are a lot of reasons for that. High quality bar for the release, because again, that's the reason why I didn't publish it yet, even if we have things working, and we are working on that for many months now. But I don't want people to download it from Marketplace, try on their like legacy 30 years old 10,000 lines of code, and it will break it somehow. Maybe it will not even compile, and you know, they will disable it and forget about this extension. So this is just not to start, you know, with something what is not working fully. Partial formatting is also a thing which is not yet fully implemented. There are some issues. OpenEdge token, number of OpenEdge tokens, and how they can be arranged, just huge. I think Java has like 25, maybe now more, but it's like here it's 1,000 or 1,500, I think. Billion, not billion, basically infinite number of formatting standards, as we saw, and high quality bar for, okay, this is the same. But this is very important, so this is why I put it here to finish, yeah. And this is the quality risk. Basically, we have these three, I think, quality risks, So first is very simple. It's formatting issues. If, for example, you have your, so this is not what the formatter returned. Actually, I just created those issues to just show what could happen theoretically. So for example, first issue is just if formatting doesn't make your code nicer, it makes it worse looking, but it's just looking, it doesn't do anything. So it's not nice. You might delete the extension if it does that to your code. Compilation issues is worse, for example, like this. And like imagine for some reason it makes an empty space between the colon and the method name, for example. So it will not compile anymore, which is, of course, not nice and probably will also delete the extension. And finally, we have algorithmic changes, which is even worse. For example, if you have your huge code, let's say maybe you format it, and in some one little place it removes your let's say part of a statement, let's say in this case message, and it still compiles, and it still looks good, but it actually doesn't do any same thing as it was meant to do. So this is even worse. So there are a lot of risks, and we tried to came up with some kind of solutions to how to deal with that. So I will start from the bottom. So on the bottom we have functional level. So testing, basically, we have now 200 functional tests, basically test cases where we have input code snippet and we have expected formatted code, and we compare how the formatter works. So that's of course very nice, and we can have some kind of trust that everything is more or less okay. But it's still, it's just 200 plus snippets we created ourselves. It's not that much. It doesn't cover all configuration. It's not 10,000 lines of code. So it doesn't do full. It cannot be really sure. So so the tests we already made, the functional level tests, but also we will try to implement some other testing, what we call parser level testing, just to try to see how many three-sitter errors we have from the parser, from the language parser, and just to see if the number increases, if the number decreases. That might be not very exact metric, but it would help us to understand the quality of the software of the parser. Then, of course, we have the two formatter level ways to test. So again, we would need existing code bases for that. And one is to actually try to compile the code after the formatting and check if it compiles. And if we have, a lot of code, a lot of maybe multiple code bases, it could be actually beneficial. And we could say, okay, if after our new changes everything compiles and thousands of files are working, it should be more or less okay. And then also we have another way of testing, maybe a bit more simpler, because we wouldn't need compile, but we still would need a bunch of open edge code. That would be to try to check the, how I called it here, non-empty characters, because technically the formatter doesn't change any characters except for empty spaces and new lines. So if we count all the characters, it could be some kind of, again, a glimpse at is something wrong? Is everything okay? Maybe if a number of, like this previous example, if we count the characters and say, okay, there is like 7 characters less, so the message statement was gone for some reason, disappeared. So this might be a good way to at least have some kind of check for that. So yeah, so for now, our timeline is to our timeline is to try to make and fix all the issues with the three-sitter parser as much as possible. Also our own issues on our side, the formatter side, and we will try to have it released in a few months on the marketplace. For now, actually, you can access it, and I will have a link I think in the next slide. You can access it via GitHub because it's now public repository, and there is also a VSIX file which you can easily install this extension via this file on your machine, and try it out. So this, for now, it's a bit more complicated because, as I said again, I don't want to have people have high expectations for this tool. And of course, maybe in 2025 we will release something what we can call version 1, and it might be just yeah, but it's still quite hard to say how many months it will take to finish this. And of course, I don't have it mentioned here, but it's fully free, it's open source, the repository is free. We don't want to make it paid or something like that. It's just a piece of software we write in our free time in between projects or just on our own time, and it should remain in this way in the future. And yeah, and feel free to join, to register tickets. Actually, I think one guy from Progenov actually registered a ticket before I actually published the package for the, so he basically built it himself. So that's fun. But yeah, you can actually go to our, I think this QR code will get you to the formatter repository, and there you can actually find the, in the, I will show, I think it would be better because it's sometimes, yeah, so on the releases side, there is this one tag, and if you click here, maybe it's a better way to get here, but there is this VSX file which you can install. So this is just sitting here for now, and as I mentioned, maybe in a few months we'll release it on Marketplace, on VS Code, and you will see that from your VS Code Marketplace side. Yes, so do you have any questions? I think we have like a few minutes, so I can answer a few questions. Yes?
There is the undo possibility, right? If you format that you're not happy, you can.
Control Z, Control Z. If you don't, so that's what I said. For now, there are still issues, so I wouldn't suggest you set up formatting on save, because if you do formatting on save, you wouldn't be able to get back so easily. So just have formatting on the standard shortcut. I think it's Shift Alt F maybe or something like that. Yeah, you need to check. But basically, yeah, standard formatting command, and use that for now. I think that would be better. And don't try 10,000 lines of code for now. 9,999, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, please.
It's about ProGrow. Is there a setting to have debug logging of ProGrow?
Debug mode?
Well, I ran into the no port issue.
Okay.
But I don't know where to look for errors.
Yeah, I think debug mode is not implemented very correctly, actually. But for your issue, actually, the solution, because we didn't solve it yet, because it's a hard problem and we don't have time for that. But there is actually a solution, I think, for what you mentioned, is that if you go to the settings, for the ProBro settings, and try to just try to add or remove a port from here, from this, and it might help. I am not. Okay, so we can talk later. I can try to help you. So yeah, I know the ProBro has some configuration issues, but it's hard to solve those because for me everything works all the time. So it works on my PC, it works for me, and people came up with some different configurations like Linux or something, and it doesn't work. And like, okay, so I don't have a way to test it currently. So, but we can check. Yeah. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions? If no, we can actually talk later if you have any specific questions about other extensions or the new extension. And yeah, thank you for listening, and hope you will be more interested in using VS Code for OpenEdge development. Thanks.